You study every day. You memorize 50 words. You watch English videos. But still, you freeze. Every time someone says, "Hey, what's your name?" your brain just dies. Why? You sit there thinking, "I know this, but I can't speak." You're not lazy. You're not dumb. You're just tired of fake advice. And here's the truth bomb. Maybe you're learning English the exact opposite way your brain needs. Yeah. What if your entire method is broken? Let's kill the lie. Grammar charts don't make you fluent. Textbooks don't prepare you for real life. You've been fed a system that works for exams, not conversations. That's why you feel invisible in group chats. That's why your confidence crashes when a native speaker laughs. You get nervous, embarrassed, stuck in level 1 hell, even though you know more than that. Truth is, your brain doesn't love rules. It loves meaning, emotion, stories. That's the real fuel. Let's talk about Charles Koch. Billionaire, influencer, business mind. But what schools don't tell you is, he started off with serious communication problems. Couldn't connect with people. Couldn't express ideas clearly. Sound familiar? Then he did something different. He didn't just read books. He built stories, real conversations, deep emotional learning. And that's the exact same strategy we use to teach you English. This story will stick. Why? Because it's not just a business tale. It's a human struggle, with slow speech, real-life words, and emotions that burn in your brain. You won't just study English here, you'll live it. Picture this. You're in New York, coffee shop's buzzing. You open your mouth. "Hi, can I get a latte, please?" No fear, no stammer. And the person replies, and you understand it all. Feels like magic, right? But it's not magic. It's the power of story learning. The way you learned your first language, not by rules, but by living. And that's what our Charles Koch documentary does. We've seen students cry with joy. I finally understand English without translating in my head. That can be you? Yes, even if you're level 1 today. So don't waste another day stuck in confusion. Don't scroll. Don't doubt. Smash that like if you're done with struggle. Turn on subtitles. Watch the whole story. Let your brain finally feel how English was meant to be learned. With emotion, with energy, with real life. Click now. Let's make your fluency real. Starting with Charles Koch. Part 1. The unseen power behind the curtain. Imagine a quiet room in Wichita, Kansas. A place far from the flashing lights of Wall Street or Washington, D.C. Yet it pulses with decisions that ripple through the global economy, influence political tides, and shape educational systems. This is where we begin the story of Charles Koch, a name often whispered with mystery, sometimes controversy, and always impact. But before he became the influential billionaire, the strategist, and the visionary, he was a boy sitting at his father's desk, listening to lessons not found in textbooks. Part 2. The seed planted by Fred Koch. Fred Koch wasn't just an oil engineer. He was a pioneer. And more importantly, a father who believed in building something that lasted beyond a generation. He built the foundation of what would become Koch Industries, with grit, discipline, and an iron sense of self-reliance. But he also built a family culture of competition and independence. Values that would shape Charles into the kind of man who reads complex economic theory at night and turns it into business strategy by morning. For English learners, think of Fred not just as a father, but as the first teacher in Charles Koch's lifelong classroom. Part 3. Young Charles. The quiet learner. While many teenagers chased noise and fame, Charles sought silence and truth. He wasn't the loudest in the room, but he was the most focused. He studied engineering at MIT, not 1, but 3 degrees. Why? Because he believed in understanding systems deeply, whether it was a refinery or a society. For those learning English, his path teaches us that knowledge is not about showing off. It's about building quietly, persistently, with purpose. Part 4. A philosophy in every step. Charles wasn't just a businessman. He was a philosopher with a balance sheet. Influenced by thinkers like Friedrich Hayek and Ludwig von Mises, he believed in individual liberty, limited government, and free market capitalism. These weren't just words in a book. They became the architecture of how he led Koch Industries. And for English learners, imagine building your life around your beliefs the way Charles built a multi-billion-dollar company around principles he read in a library. Part 5. The birth of Koch Industries. Taking over his father's company wasn't a smooth ride. Charles had to fight internal resistance, even from his own brothers. He renamed the company Koch Industries and transformed it into one of the largest, privately held corporations in the world. This part of the journey is a lesson in leadership. It's about holding your ground when even your family disagrees. Imagine trying to steer a massive ship in stormy waters. That's what Charles did, with a calm hand and clear vision. Part 6. Business without borders. Under Charles's leadership, Koch Industries grew beyond oil. They moved into chemicals, fibers, ranching, paper, electronics, and more. He created a system that focused on market-based management, a method that allowed employees to think and act like entrepreneurs. To English learners, this part of the story teaches that success isn't just about starting a business. It's about building a culture, one where everyone has a voice, everyone thinks critically, and everyone grows. Part 7. Family ties and fractures. The Koch family was not without its conflicts. The infamous feud between Charles and his brothers, particularly Frederick and Bill, revealed the cracks within an empire. But what makes this story powerful is how Charles remained steady. He chose vision over revenge. It's a reminder that even in the most successful families, emotions and power can collide. But leadership is often about staying calm when others lose control. Part 8. A political firestorm begins. By the 1980s, Charles Koch's name began to appear in political circles. But not as a politician, as a funder, an ideologue, a quiet influencer. He believed that by supporting think tanks, academic institutions, and advocacy groups, he could change the way people thought about freedom, government, and markets. For English learners, think of this not as control, but as contribution. He was investing in ideas, not just elections. Part 9. The rise of the Koch network. Charles didn't do it alone. Alongside his brother David Koch, he built a vast network of donors, activists, and intellectuals who shared a libertarian vision. This Koch network became one of the most influential forces in American conservative politics. Whether you agree with him or not, his ability to organize and scale an idea into a movement is a lesson in long-term thinking and strategic communication. Part 10. Beyond politics, education and opportunity. What many don't realize is how much Charles Koch has invested in education. Through the Charles Koch Foundation, he supports programs that encourage open dialogue, critical thinking, and peaceful problem-solving. To the English learner, his belief in education isn't just about facts. It's about the freedom to question, challenge, and grow. He wants people to think for themselves, and that is the heart of real learning. Part 11. The power of quiet influence. Charles Koch was never interested in spotlight fame. While others chased cameras, he built coalitions. He poured money into academic departments that aligned with his principles, economics, philosophy, law, and created a silent ripple in American intellectual life. To the English learner, this teaches a powerful truth. You don't always need to speak loudly to be heard. Quiet strategy, backed by clear vision, can echo for generations. Part 12. David Koch, the gentleman partner. David Koch, Charles's younger brother and lifelong ally, brought a different energy. Where Charles was reserved, David was charismatic. David became a public face of the Koch brothers, especially in philanthropy. He supported cancer research, ballet, hospitals, and museums. He had survived a plane crash in 1991, and it changed him. He used his fortune to extend life, culture, and joy. Their bond wasn't just about business. It was a shared belief in freedom, but with different voices. Part 13. Building a culture of belief. Inside Koch Industries, employees were taught to think differently. Charles implemented his own system, market-based management, MBM. It wasn't just a buzzword. It meant treating every employee like an owner, encouraging experimentation, demanding responsibility, rewarding results. In simple English, Charles believed that good ideas should win, no matter where they come from. He built a company where people weren't afraid to speak up, because even the CEO was still learning. Part 14. The Koch philosophy. Beyond business, Koch's core belief has remained consistent for decades. Individual freedom leads to human flourishing. Whether in business, politics, or education, he acts on this principle. For learners of English, consider this. What if every action you took in life was guided by one belief? That's how Charles built his empire. Not with tricks, but with clarity. And he believes others can do it too, if they are given the chance to think and act freely. Part 15. The turning point. A national spotlight. By the early 2000s, Charles Koch could no longer stay in the shadows. His growing influence in American politics, through advocacy groups like Americans for Prosperity, put him under the national lens. Critics accused him of manipulating policy. Supporters saw him as defending freedom. This is where the story becomes more than business. It becomes about how ideas clash, how power is viewed, and how leadership carries the weight of being misunderstood. Part 16. The family's philanthropic heartbeat. Away from politics, the Koch family has poured billions into research, poverty alleviation, education reform, and even criminal justice reform. Charles Koch may be a capitalist, but he believes in dignity for all. He helped fund programs to help former prisoners rebuild their lives. For English learners, this is an important lesson. Big success can still carry big compassion. Business and kindness can live together. Part 17. Tragedy, illness, and the human layer. David Koch passed away in 2019, leaving behind a legacy of generosity and resilience. The family mourned quietly, as they always lived. Charles himself has faced health challenges and aging, but never lost his focus. These moments remind us that even the most powerful people are still human. They grieve, they hurt, they age, they love, and they continue. Part 18. The critics, the questions, the mirror. No great legacy comes without criticism. The Kochs have been accused of funding climate denial, opposing government regulations, and influencing democracy too deeply. Charles hasn't dodged the questions, but he answers through principle. He says his mission is to remove barriers to opportunity, not create them. Whether you agree or not, his clarity of purpose is rare. And for the English learner, it's a moment to reflect. What does it mean to stand by your beliefs when the world pushes back? Part 19. Koch Industries today. A quiet giant today. Koch Industries spans chemicals, paper, electronics, fuels, minerals, finance, and innovation. It employs over 120,000 people globally. Yet it remains private, avoiding the stock market to stay focused on long-term vision. Charles Koch doesn't chase quarterly praise. He builds for decades. That's a mindset every learner can absorb. Think far. Act now. Speak when needed. Part 20. The Next Generation. Chase, Elizabeth, and beyond. The Koch legacy is being passed down. Charles's son Chase Koch has taken on leadership roles within the company with a more modern, tech-savvy approach. He emphasizes empathy and innovation. Elizabeth Koch, Charles's daughter, explores consciousness, philosophy, and personal transformation. Unlike their father, they tread in softer, more personal spaces. But the foundation remains: impact, vision, values. It's a family not afraid to evolve. Part 21. Culture versus capital. Balancing identity. Being a Koch means managing two worlds: fierce private values and public influence. The family maintains strong boundaries around their personal lives, even while their ideas are debated on national television. For English learners, this is a key idea. You can build a life of influence without losing who you are. The Kochs walk that line, not perfectly, but purposefully. Part 22. Charles Koch's books, his voice in print. Charles has written several books: The Science of Success, Good Profit, and Believe in People. Each shares parts of his philosophy. He doesn't write to entertain. He writes to teach. He wants readers to build, to grow, to challenge systems. His writing is direct, honest, and sometimes demanding, but always meant to elevate. For learners, these books are not just about business. They're about becoming a better thinker. Part 23. Technology and the future. Koch Industries has invested heavily in emerging technologies like AI, renewable fuels, robotics, and biotech. The family knows that standing still means falling behind. Charles Koch, even in his 80s, urges teams to experiment, adapt, and keep moving. It's a reminder: age is no barrier to curiosity. Learning never stops. And that message is gold for anyone learning a new language today. Part 24. The power of long-term thinking. One reason Koch Industries has thrived is because they ignore short-term distractions. They play a long game. They invest in people, not headlines. They fix systems, not just symptoms. That discipline is rare, and it's a tool every learner can adopt. Be patient. Be consistent. Think long. Part 25. What drives Charles Koch? Today. At his core, Charles still seeks the same thing he did as a teenager: truth, liberty, and the best way to live. He is less focused on growing wealth and more focused on spreading understanding. He supports scholars, community leaders, entrepreneurs, and even former critics, if they share the belief in open society and free exchange. He believes everyone has potential. That's what still drives him. Part 26. The legacy of resilience. The Koch family has weathered lawsuits, media attacks, family splits, and public backlash. And yet, they continue. Why? Because their foundation is internal, not external. They are not building for applause, they are building for principles. That resilience is a powerful trait for anyone, especially those learning English, navigating new cultures, or building new futures. Part 27. Inspiration for young dreamers. If you're a young learner watching this documentary, remember this: Charles Koch was once a quiet boy with big ideas. He wasn't born powerful. He worked, he studied, he believed, he failed, he tried again. That path is still open to you. Whether you live in a small town or a big city, your voice matters. Your mind matters. Your journey matters. Part 28. The family's global footprint. The Koch influence isn't just American. Their businesses and ideas reach around the world. Yet they remain grounded in a simple principle: empower the individual. Whether it's an entrepreneur in India, a student in Africa, or a worker in Kansas, freedom, innovation, and opportunity are the real exports of the Koch legacy. Part 29. Beyond fame, beyond fortune. What if you had everything: money, power, influence, and still chose to live simply, study deeply, and stay curious? That's the rare path Charles Koch walks. He's not chasing the next trophy. He's building something that lasts beyond him. And that idea, that we build not for ourselves, but for the future, is a lesson worth repeating in every classroom, every language. Part 30. Your legacy begins now, so here we are. We've traveled through decades of vision, controversy, brilliance, and belief. The Koch family's story is not about perfection. It's about principle. It's about doing hard things for long-term good. And now, the question is no longer about Charles or his family. It's about you. What will your legacy be? Will you learn, lead, and lift others up? Will you build quietly, patiently, with clarity? That's the real inheritance this story leaves you. And it begins today.
If you loved this video and want to improve your English faster, do these 3 things right now. 1. Hit that subscribe button, because I drop powerful English lessons like this every week. 2. Smash the like button, so YouTube knows this video helped you. 3. Share with friends, because everyone deserves to speak English confidently. On the Control English, you get the world's simplest English tricks. Tap the bell icon to never miss a new lesson. Today's challenge: share this video with 2 friends and tell them, this channel will change your English game. Thank you. Keep learning. Keep growing.